All right, hey who? It's time to show the people out there how to garden. That's my hat. Hey guys, it's Jake Mace, the vegan athlete, and join me here in my front yard. I'll show you guys what I got growing on. I got some potatoes growing in this bed, some New Zealand spinach. I've got some artichokes that are really putting off some serious growth here. It's January, like third week of January 2017. And this spring, these guys will be huge and I'll have artichokes all over them that I'll be able to eat and steam and have as a vegan dinner. I got some fennel back there. This bed is also full of potatoes. They're about a month behind the other bed. So I'll have two different raised beds ripening at two different times. So I'm growing a ton of my own food here in this former driveway in my front yard in my house in the Phoenix area. And this raised bed looks a little bit crappy right now. And this one used to be a bunch of eggplants and sweet peppers and okra. But since it's winter time, those plants are starting to die out for the season. And my eggplant, my okra, my peppers, they do very well in the summertime. I'm gonna take this bed out, cut all these plants down, turn all the leaves and the plants back into compost and mulch, and use this raised bed to plant something new. Can I show you guys what I'm gonna plant? Let me go get it. It's in this bowl right here. These are called Jerusalem artichokes. They're also called a sunchoke. Sunchokes grow very well under the ground. They're like a potato. But if you eat them raw, if I were to slice this root right here and eat it raw, it'd be like light and refreshing and crunchy like a water chestnut. So they can be sliced up thin in salads as water chestnuts, but you can also cook them up like a potato and you can cream them like mashed potatoes. Underneath the ground, these tubers grow, which I'll harvest later and eat. Above the ground, they grow incredible flowers that look kind of like mini sunflowers. The sunflowers don't yield any sunflower seeds like a traditional sunflower does, but they do have a really aromatic smell and they're beautiful. So we're gonna put sunchokes, Jerusalem artichokes in this bed. I do this all the time. I'm always rotating my crops. So in addition to being into the martial arts and doing meditation and fitness and Tai Chi and eating a lot of vegan food, I try to grow as much of my food as I possibly can in my front, my backyard, and sunchokes is a great crop to plant if you're a home gardener. These sunchokes came from my friend Greg Peterson with urbanfarm.org. He's been growing them in his house for many, many years, and he gave me some of his harvest. But if you guys don't have a Greg Peterson in your neighborhood, you can go to like an organic grocery store, find some sunchokes, and just plant them, baby. Just put them in the ground. Let nature do its work. We're gonna cut the time lapse. I'm gonna do some yard work, take all these old plants out, and I'm gonna show you guys how I take care of my soil and make it supercharged so that the sunchokes, not only will they grow well, but when I eat them, I'm gonna have healthier food than you're eating. And at the end of this video, there's a bonus clip that I wanna show you guys.
Yo te traigo esta bomba puertorriqueña. Yo te la traigo de...
Look at this, oh, right in the groin. Oh, blooper reel. Look at the size of this eggplant. This is only one plant. I mean, we harvested dozens of eggplants off this guy and we didn't even get to them all. There's still 3 on there that we didn't get to. But look at this, from one seed, we got one plant, one root system. This is like an eggplant tree. That's the thumbnail right there. All right, back to the work, back to the time lapse.
De Vega Baja y de Santurce, de toda parte de Puerto Rico. Esta bomba yo la dedico a toda mi gente de Puerto Rico, a la familia Fontanez, allá en Cupe Alto y Lo Mejía en Vega Baja. ¡Que gocen! ¡Sí! Bomba, bomba, para siempre. Bomba, bomba está presente, aquí lo canta mi gente. Bomba, bomba, para siempre. Baila, baila y goza, mi bomba pues.
All right, I finished. Record time. Come on over. Look at this raised bed. It's been here for a couple years now. And look at the dirt in here. If I move these eggplant leaves out of the way, you guys can see my soil. It looks pretty good, I think. I think it's pretty nutrient dense, lush, vitamin and mineral rich soil. Lots of worms in there, lots of bug life. And if you guys look over here, I'll show you something really cool. Even in the leaves, the eggplant leaves themselves have been kind of matting together and forming this white spiderweb looking stuff. And that's the beneficial fungus, the beneficial civilization we call mycelium or mycorrhiza, that kind of brings life to the earth. It bonds with the plant's roots and creates this underground civilization that I don't fully understand, but I know that it's making my earth alive and allowing my plants, my trees, my gardens, my bushes, my vines, everything to talk to each other. So I love seeing that mycelium in the soil. I'm gonna leave most of these leaves here. I'm gonna go down here and grab my irrigation line, this 1/4 inch drip line I have. You guys can see that. I'm gonna pull it up to the top. And then I'm going to fill the soil level back to the top here. And let me show you another really awesome surprise that I found just now when I cleaned out this raised bed. I found some eggplants that were hidden beneath the bush that are still ripe. We're gonna eat these for dinner tonight, and I like to slice them up, make like a baba ganoush out of them, or just slice them up and make like a veggie burger out of the discs. Just slice them into discs and grill them up like you would a veggie burger. So we're gonna use those for food tonight. And I got this leftover okra that I found that's in the perfect stage for harvesting the seeds. This okra is delicious and it grows vigorously in the summers of the desert. So for all you desert dogs out there, okra, eggplants, peppers, Egyptian spinach, and basil, these are some of my favorite summertime plants to grow in the desert. If I just take this leftover okra fruit, okra pod, and just kind of get the seeds out of there, I now can harvest all of these seeds, and I'll replant these seeds in the late spring, and they'll grow all through the summer and all through the monsoon season for me. And if I have any extra, I'll include it at the seedbankbox.com. So you guys who are signed up for my seed bank program, it's quite possible during the appropriate month, usually around April or May, you might see some okra seeds coming in your seed bank box, some of which will be from my garden. All right, it's my job now to fill this bed back up to the top with the special Mace's Mix, man, the Mace's Mix. And I got these cool cards now you guys can get at jakemace.com if you're a gardener and you wanna know my exact mix for gardening. You wanna look on this side for gardens and this side for fruit trees. So this tells you the exact mix that I use in my raised beds. And it says on the card, you wanna put in coconut coir, worm castings, locally made biodynamic active compost, and rock dust minerals. So this wheelbarrow is full of locally made, organic, biodynamic, alive, the living compost that I got from a local place in town. And some of it's even from my compost tumblers that I have a couple of here at my home. And we're gonna add the worm castings and the coconut coir and the rock dust minerals to this. I think of all the things that we add, the rock dust minerals are the most important because the goal of gardening at home is to produce high quality, nutritious, vegan food. And you do that by putting the minerals back in the soil. The problem is if you go to a grocery store and buy organic produce, even though it's quote unquote organic, the farmer who grew it still is just growing it in the earth over and over and over again. Every season, a new crop. They're not putting a bunch of minerals and living compost back in the ground. They're just growing in the earth directly. So over time, over hundreds of years, generations and generations, the earth has become completely void of minerals and vitamins. So even though you're buying organic produce, it's lacking. It's lacking minerals, which is why humans are getting more unhealthy these days. So with home gardening, it's really cool because you can put the minerals back into your soil. The plants drink those minerals and vitamins up. They produce a tomato, they produce a lettuce, they produce a pepper that then you eat, and now you're eating like your great-grandparents did hundreds of years ago, which was more mineral-rich, nutrient-dense food. And my soil mix that I've been using for years here at my home will help you guys grow the healthiest food in town. bush behind me, I decided to leave this guy. He looks so healthy. I just pruned him a little bit. And then I decided just to leave him here, and we'll see if he grows all spring and summer. And let's see if I can get multiple years out of this eggplant bush, which is supposed to be an annual, but it looks so good. I'm gonna let him go, and I'll keep you guys updated here on what happens with this eggplant plant if you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel here. So now I went to my local nursery and I got some worm castings. I went down to A&P Nursery for these ones. If you're locally here in the Phoenix area, A&P has a good deal on worm castings. If you can make it over to my friends Seamus O'Leary or my friend Greg Peterson, Greg and Seamus have the Worm Gold Plus, a really good variety of worm castings. But if you can't get to Seamus O'Leary, or if you can't get to Greg Peterson's Urban Farm, I recommend A&P Nursery. They're a great little local nursery chain. They got locations all around the valley, A&P. So this worm castings is pretty good. We're gonna spread it out and mix it in with our compost. The worm castings is basically the wheatgrass shot. It's like the nutrient-dense food that my plants will just drink up. And now I'm gonna reach down here and grab my irrigation line and bring it to the top. And let's time lapse this. I have so many other YouTube videos out there using the coconut pith or the coconut core. I don't use peat moss, I use coconut core, coconut pith. But I just realized in that wheelbarrow full of compost, I had already mixed in 2 shovelfuls or 3 shovelfuls of coconut core about a month ago. So I've already got the coconut core in here, but you buy the coconut core in a block. You can get that from a local nursery or even on Amazon or something like that. And then you pour water on it and it becomes a growing spongy medium. And the coconut core doesn't have very much nutrients in it, but it does have a lot of moisture retaining properties that allows my soil to stay moist and wet, and my plants love that. Then I've got the rock dust minerals, and this bag you guys can get from me at jakemace.com if you guys want to go to my gardening section of my website. And this is the most important part of the gardening and fruit tree growing process for me, because I want to put those minerals back in the soil. And the Azomite company has a great product that has over 70 different minerals, including a lot of trace elements. And we're going to just sprinkle this on like this, and be careful not to breathe it. People always ask, Jake, vegan athlete, how much rock dust do we put on our garden? I go, well, about this much. I usually put about this much when I'm topping it off. The cool thing is that you can put as much as you want. If you add too much, that's okay. It's not going to burn anything because it's just minerals. There we go. Now as the water hits this stuff, it'll just absorb into the soil. And my sunchokes, my Jerusalem artichokes, are gonna drink that right up. Okay, we got our bowl of sunchokes here, Jerusalem artichokes. A lot of people ask me recently, Jake, we know you put mycorrhiza in your garden. I say, well, I don't actually. We sell a $7 bag of mycorrhiza at jakemace.com, but I use this really only for fruit trees, when I plant fruit trees. So you can do about 6 or so fruit trees. So like for $1 a tree, get a bag of the mycorrhiza from my website. But I don't use this stuff in my garden because the mycorrhiza and the mycelium, they find their way into the raised beds if your soil is really good. So you don't need to buy this for the raised beds. If you want to know my fruit tree mix or my garden mix from scratch, get one of these cards, and we're going to put these sunchokes just like this right now. I'm going to lay them out first. And I know for a fact, because I planted these before, that from this one little cluster right here, it will make 10 times to 20 times more than this. So if I put one right here, this entire area will be full of these tubers in a few months' time. So I'm only going to put about 2. Maybe I'll do 2 here in the front. I'll put a small one right there. And I'll do it like that. I'll put like some big ones on the edges. Don't stress it, guys. Just do what you think is right, and nature will find a way to grow you some good food here. And I'm going to bury them down about that deep. See that? Just about like that. Maybe a little bit deeper. Because my soil is so fluffy and light, they're gonna find an easy way coming up to the surface. And that's it, we'll put those down just like that, and as the water hits that, it's gonna grow. And if you guys are locally here in town and you come to one of my gardening seminars this spring, you're gonna take note and see these sunchokes growing in this raised bed here, which is in my front yard. So let's time lapse this. I'll put all these underneath the soil and I'll come back to you guys in about 2 minutes. I need to water this first by hand because I want to settle all that new dirt, and then after I water it one time, my irrigation line will take over. So I got this watering can full of pond water from my fish pond. It's gonna be full of nutrients in there, and you'll see when that rock dust gets hit with water, it just absorbs right in there and becomes part of my subterranean ecosystem. There you go. That's how I do it. That's how I top off an existing bed, how I plant something really cool and something new like sunchokes. And if you guys subscribe to my channel and come back to me in about 2 or 3 months, I'll show you the update. I'll do a video when they first break through so you can see the new plants, and I'll do a video when they're tall and thriving, and I'll do a harvest video and I'll show you guys how we cook them up. We'll do a whole vegan athlete cooking show using the Jerusalem artichoke. We're gonna cut to the credits. I'm gonna say my typical send-off: go vegan, grow your food at home. Stick with me till after the credits because I'll come to you guys with an extra bonus scene at the end of this YouTube video. Thanks for joining me. If you guys want to get on my seed program, order a seed bank box at seedbankbox.com, and I'll see you guys back here next time. This tree is so cool. I've had this tree for a few years. It's a sapote, and if you guys have never had sapote before, it's amazing. It's like I would call it like a tropical pear. Like guava, sapote are very pear-like in their consistency, but it's creamy and really delicious. And I planted this white sapote about 2.5 years ago or so, and it just started flowering for the first time ever. And I think a lot of these flowers are being pollinated by my local insect colonies like butterflies and bees and all that kind of stuff. And I've got lots of clusters of flowers. Look at this guy all over here. So I'm really stoked that my little friend here that we've been talking together for a few years, and he or she is finally producing some flowers and the new growth. And the new growth comes out red. Look at that. It comes out red and then turns green over time. So I'd recommend, if you guys are in a warm place like California, Florida, Texas, Arizona, maybe even Las Vegas, definitely Hawaii or the tropics, plant some sapote, and plant all different varieties of sapote. There's different kinds. And you guys won't be disappointed. The fruit is world class.